Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating pieces of modern U.S. coinage, the 1967 Washington Quarter Dollar. This is not just a coin. It is a snapshot of an entire nation standing at a crossroads, and for collectors, it carries a unique sense of value and worth that continues to spark curiosity and excitement, setting the historical stage. To truly understand the significance of the 1967 Washington Quarter, we must step back into the atmosphere of the United States during the late 1960s. This was a period of transformation, tension, and tremendous cultural energy. The nation was dealing with the Vietnam War, civil rights movements were reshaping society, and music, fashion, and art were breaking away from old traditions. Every part of American life was changing, including its money. Coinage during this era reflected economic pressures and shifting priorities. Precious metals were disappearing from everyday coins, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure to produce enough currency to meet public demand. The Washington Quarter of this year stands as a product of those circumstances, quietly telling the story of how America adapted to a rapidly changing world. The Washington Quarter legacy. The Washington Quarter itself already carried a strong legacy long before 1967. First introduced in the early 1930s, the design honored George Washington, the nation's first president. His portrait symbolized leadership, endurance, and the founding ideals of the United States. Over the decades, this quarter became one of the most familiar coins in American pockets. By the time the 1967 version was produced, the design had become iconic. The strong profile of Washington on the front and the proud eagle on the back were instantly recognizable. Yet, despite this familiar appearance, the 1967 issue holds a special place because of the moment in which it was created. A coin without a mint mark. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1967 Washington Quarter is the absence of a mint mark. During this time, the U.S. Mint made a deliberate decision to remove mint marks from coins. This was done to discourage hoarding and speculation, as people were pulling coins out of circulation hoping they would increase in value. This decision adds an air of mystery to the coin. Without a mint mark, collectors cannot immediately tell where the coin was produced, which sets it apart from many other issues. For numismatists, this detail becomes a conversation starter, a clue that places the coin squarely in a unique chapter of American minting history. Design details that matter at first glance. The 1967 Washington Quarter may look similar to other quarters from nearby years, but careful observation reveals subtle details that collectors appreciate. Washington's portrait appears dignified and firm, reflecting the classical style that had defined the series for decades. The lettering is crisp, and the overall layout feels balanced and purposeful. The reverse side features the eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows, and an olive branch. This imagery represents both strength and peace, a powerful combination that resonated deeply during a time of national conflict and hope. Every line and curve of the design contributes to the coin's enduring appeal. Metal composition and its significance. Another critical factor that defines the 1967 quarter is its metal composition. By this time, quarters were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were produced using a copper-nickel clad composition. This change marked a major shift in American coinage and reflected broader economic realities. While some collectors are drawn to silver content, others find the clad era equally fascinating. The 1967 quarter represents the early years of this transition, making it an important piece for anyone interested in the evolution of U.S. currency. It symbolizes a turning point when practicality overtook tradition, and that alone gives it historical weight. Why collectors pay attention? So why does the 1967 Washington Quarter continue to capture the attention of collectors today? The answer lies in a combination of history, condition, and curiosity. While millions were produced, not all survived in pristine shape. Coins that avoided heavy circulation, damage, or were stand out and become highly desirable. Collectors often search for examples with strong strikes, clean surfaces, and original luster. Even minor details can make a significant difference in how a coin is perceived. For many enthusiasts, the thrill is in discovering a well-preserved piece from an era that shaped modern America. The emotional connection to the era. Coins are more than metal. They are emotional artifacts. Holding a 1967 quarter can transport someone back to a time of jukeboxes, muscle cars, and historic speeches. It may remind collectors of stories told by parents or grandparents, of a world filled with both uncertainty and optimism. This emotional connection adds another layer of worth that goes beyond simple market considerations. For some, the value of the coin lies in its ability to connect generations, serving as a tangible link between past and present. Rarity versus perception. It is important to understand that rarity in coin collecting is not always about low production numbers. Sometimes, it is about survival and condition. The 1967 Washington quarter is a perfect example. While many were made, far fewer remain in exceptional condition today. This gap between perception and reality fuels interest. People often overlook coins from this period, assuming they are common and unremarkable. Yet, seasoned collectors know that within this category exist pieces that stand out dramatically, commanding attention and respect within the numismatic community. A quiet star in modern coinage. Unlike flashy commemorative coins or ancient pieces with dramatic backstories, the 1967 Washington quarter is a quiet star. It does not shout for attention. Instead, it invites careful study and appreciation. Its value is revealed slowly, through understanding rather than spectacle. This subtlety is precisely what makes it so appealing. It rewards patience, knowledge, and a genuine love for history. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, this coin reminds us that some treasures reveal themselves only to those willing to look closely. Closing thoughts and final worth. As we come to the end of this journey, it becomes clear that the 1967 Washington quarter is far more than spare change. It is a witness to history, a product of economic transformation, and a symbol of an era that reshaped the United States. For collectors and enthusiasts alike, its worth is measured not only in condition but in context, story, and connection. Story is about one such coin, a piece of American history that looks ordinary at first glance but carries a fascinating background and a surprising level of interest. Welcome to this deep dive into the United States of America 1982 D Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar coin, its story, its character, and why so many people still search for it today. A brief look at the Washington quarter legacy. The Washington quarter is one of the most iconic coins ever produced by the United States. First introduced in the early 20th century, it was designed to honor George Washington, the nation's first president. Over the decades, this coin has seen changes in metal composition, minting technology, and production standards, yet it has always remained familiar to the American public. By the time the 1982 Washington quarter was struck, the coin had already earned a permanent place in American culture, symbolizing everyday commerce as well as national pride. The historical moment of 1982. The year 1982 was a unique time for the United States Mint. The country was experiencing economic challenges, changes in inflation, and shifting demand for coinage. During this period, the Mint made several important decisions that affected how coins were produced. One of the most interesting facts about this year is that some quarters were struck without mint marks, while others carried them, depending on where they were produced. This alone has made the 1982 quarters a favorite topic among collectors and enthusiasts. Understanding the D Mint mark. The D Mint mark tells us that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. This small letter, usually found on the obverse side near George Washington's portrait, plays a significant role in identifying where the coin was made. For collectors, mint marks are more than just letters. They are clues that connect a coin to a specific place, set of machines, and moment in time. The Denver Mint has a long and respected history, and coins produced there are often admired for their strong strikes and consistent quality. Design details that capture attention. The obverse of the 1982 D Washington quarter features the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington. His hair is tied back, his expression calm and dignified, reflecting the classical style chosen by the original designer. The word Liberty arches above his head, while the national motto appears nearby. On the reverse, the eagle with outstretched wings stands proudly, clutching arrows and olive branches, a symbol of strength and peace. These design elements may seem simple, but they represent decades of artistic tradition and national symbolism. Metal composition and everyday use. By 1982, Washington quarters were made of a copper core clad with a layer of nickel. This change in composition, introduced earlier, marked a shift away from precious metals and toward more practical materials for circulation. These quarters were produced in large quantities to meet everyday needs, which means many of them were heavily used. As a result, finding examples in excellent condition has become more challenging over time, adding to their appeal among collectors. Why collectors pay attention to this coin at first glance. A 1982 D Washington quarter may look like any other quarter from the era. However, collectors know that the details matter. Strike quality, surface condition, and overall preservation can vary widely. Coins from this year also gained attention because of differences in minting practices and quality control. Some examples show sharper details, while others appear softer or less defined. These variations encourage collectors to carefully examine each coin they encounter. The role of condition and preservation. Condition plays a crucial role in how any coin is viewed by collectors. A well-preserved quarter with minimal wear, strong details, and clean surfaces can stand out dramatically compared to one that has spent decades in circulation. Collectors often look for coins that show crisp lettering, clear features on Washington's face, and a strong eagle on the reverse. Even small differences can make a big impact in how desirable a coin becomes within the collecting community. Stories hidden in circulation. Coins. One of the most exciting aspects of collecting coins like the 1982 D Washington quarter is the mystery of where each coin has been. These quarters may have traveled across states, passed through countless hands, or sat forgotten in jars and drawers. Every scratch, mark, and sign of wear tells a silent story of daily life in America. For many collectors, this sense of history and connection is just as important as any measure of worth. Popularity among new and experienced collectors. This particular quarter appeals to a wide range of collectors. Beginners enjoy the thrill of searching through change and learning how to identify mint marks and design details. More experienced collectors appreciate the challenge of finding higher quality examples and comparing subtle differences between coins. The 1982 D Washington quarter serves as an accessible entry point into the broader world of numismatics while still offering depth and intrigue for seasoned enthusiasts. The educational value of the coin. Beyond collecting, this quarter offers educational value. It provides a window into American history, minting technology, and economic conditions of the early 1980s. Teachers, parents, and hobbyists often use coins like this to spark curiosity and discussion. Studying a single coin can lead to a deeper understanding of how money reflects the society that produces it. Long-term interest and collector sentiment. Interest in the 1982 D Washington quarter has remained steady over the years. While trends in coin collecting can change, certain issues continue to draw attention because of their historical context and unique characteristics. This quarter is often discussed in collector circles, online forums, and educational content, keeping its story alive for new generations. Closing thoughts and final reflection. As we come to the end of this exploration, it becomes clear that the 1982 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin is more than just spare change. It represents a specific moment in American history, shaped by economic realities. We journey deep into one specific piece of that legacy, the 1990 Philadelphia Mint Washington $quarter. To truly understand why this coin matters, we must first step back into the atmosphere of America in the early 1990s. The Cold War had recently ended, technology was beginning to reshape daily life, and the United States stood at the edge of a new global era. It was a time of transition, optimism, and quiet confidence. Everyday Americans carried coins in their pockets without realizing that some of those coins would one day be studied, collected, and valued far beyond their original purpose. The Washington quarter had already been part of American life for decades by the time 1990 arrived. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the coin was designed to reflect dignity, strength, and leadership. The obverse features the left-facing portrait of Washington, calm and resolute, a symbol of the nation's foundational ideals. By 1990, this design had become instantly recognizable, trusted, and deeply familiar to the public. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the absence of a mint mark on the coin, was one of the most important production centers in the country. Coins struck there were meant primarily for everyday use, not as collectibles. Yet this very fact is what makes certain examples so intriguing today. Coins that were intended to be ordinary sometimes survive in extraordinary condition, and when they do, their story changes dramatically. the 1990 Washington quarter from the Philadelphia Mint was struck during a period when the United States Mint focused heavily on efficiency and volume. Millions of quarters were produced to meet circulation demands. These coins were composed of a copper core clad in layers of nickel, a structure adopted decades earlier to replace silver. Though lacking precious metal content, the craftsmanship still mattered, and the quality of strike played a crucial role in determining how well a coin would age. At first glance, the 1990 quarter may appear no different from countless others. But collectors know that details matter. The sharpness of Washington's hair, the clarity of the lettering, the smoothness of the fields, and the strength of the eagle on the reverse all contribute to a coin's desirability. The reverse design, featuring a proud bald eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, represents strength through unity and readiness to defend freedom. In well-preserved examples, this image remains bold and commanding. What transforms this coin from a simple piece of change into a collectible is condition. Most quarters from 1990 circulated heavily. They were used in vending machines, parking meters, and cash registers across the nation. As a result, finding one today with minimal wear is increasingly difficult. Coins that avoided circulation, perhaps saved in rolls or mint sets, retain their original luster and sharp detail, making them far more appealing to collectors. Another factor that adds intrigue is the concept of grading. Professional grading services evaluate coins based on strike quality, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal. A high-grade 1990 Philadelphia quarter stands out because it represents a rare survivor of a mass-produced issue. It is not rarity of mintage that creates value here, but rarity of preservation. Collectors are often drawn to coins like this because they represent a challenge. Anyone can find a worn quarter from the 1990s, but locating one that looks as if it were struck yesterday requires patience, knowledge, and sometimes a bit of luck. That challenge fuels the excitement of numismatics and keeps collectors searching through rolls, collections, and old storage boxes. There is also a strong emotional component. For many people, the 1990s evoke memories of childhood, family, and a rapidly changing world. Holding a coin from that era can feel like holding a small piece of personal history. The Washington quarter becomes more than metal, it becomes a tangible link to a specific moment in time. The Philadelphia Mint's role adds another layer of importance. As the oldest mint in the United States, Philadelphia represents tradition and continuity. Coins struck there carry an invisible connection to centuries of American coinage. Even without a mint mark, knowledgeable collectors immediately recognize its origin and significance. In the world of YouTube coin content, coins like the 1990 Washington quarter are perfect subjects because they surprise viewers. Many assume that only ancient or silver coins have value. When they learn that a modern quarter can be worth serious money in the right condition, curiosity turns into fascination. This is how everyday people become interested in coin collecting, one unexpected discovery at a time. The market for collectible coins is driven by demand, condition, and historical context. While prices can fluctuate, certain examples consistently attract attention. High-grade coins with strong eye appeal often become centerpieces of collections focused on modern American coinage. The 1990 Philadelphia Washington quarter, when preserved at the highest levels, fits squarely into this category. It is important to remember that value does not come from age alone. It comes from survival. Out of millions struck, only a small fraction remain in pristine condition decades later. Those survivors tell a story of care, chance, and time standing still. That is why collectors are willing to pay a premium for them. As you think about this coin, consider how many quarters pass through your hands each year. Most are forgotten the moment they are spent. Yet among them could be a future collectible, waiting quietly for someone to notice its potential. The 1990 Washington quarter reminds us that history is often hiding in plain sight. For collectors, investors, and history enthusiasts alike, this coin represents the beauty of modern numismatics. It proves that even recent history can hold value, meaning, and excitement. It invites us to look closer, to slow down, and to appreciate the small objects that connect us to the past. We are diving into the world of the United States of America 1995 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin, a piece of everyday currency that quietly bridges the past and the present. This is not just a coin. It is a snapshot of a specific moment in American minting history, a symbol of national pride, and for many collectors, a coin that sparks curiosity and conversation. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will see this quarter in a completely new light. Background of the Washington Quarter. The Washington Quarter is one of the most iconic coins ever produced by the United States Mint. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, this quarter was originally meant to be a one-year commemorative issue. However, its popularity and dignified design led to it becoming a permanent part of American coinage. George Washington's portrait on the obverse represents leadership, independence, and the foundation of the nation. Sculpted with strong features and a calm expression, the image reflects the respect Americans have held for their first president for generations. By the time the 1995 quarter was minted, the Washington Quarter had already become a trusted symbol of stability in U.S. currency. Understanding the D mint mark. The small letter D on the quarter tells an important story. This mint mark indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the most significant minting facilities in the United States. Located in Colorado, the Denver Mint has played a crucial role in producing coins for circulation, especially during periods of high demand. In 1995, the Denver Mint was operating at full efficiency, striking millions of coins to support everyday commerce. The presence of the D mint mark does not always mean rarity, but it does give the coin a specific identity. Collectors often seek out coins from different mints to complete sets, compare strike quality, and appreciate subtle variations that may exist between mint locations, design details and artistic elements. The obverse of the 1995 D Washington Quarter features the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington. The word liberty appears prominently, along with the phrase "In God We Trust." The year 1995 sits clearly beneath Washington's profile, marking the era in which this coin was produced. On the reverse, the coin displays a powerful eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows and framed by olive branches. This imagery symbolizes strength, readiness to defend, and a desire for peace. The inscriptions "United States of America" and "Quarter Dollar" complete the design, reinforcing the coin's role as both a functional currency and a national emblem. The craftsmanship of these quarters reflects decades of refinement in minting technology. By the mid-1990s, the U.S. Mint had achieved consistent quality, producing coins with sharp details and durable finishes meant to withstand years of circulation. The era of 1995. To truly appreciate this coin, it helps to step back into the year 1995. The United States was experiencing economic growth, technological change, and cultural shifts. The internet was beginning to enter homes, music and fashion were evolving rapidly, and the country was moving confidently toward a new millennium. Coins minted during this time were witnesses to everyday American life. They passed through the hands of students, workers, shop owners, and travelers. Each quarter played a small role in daily transactions, from vending machines to parking meters. The 1995 D Washington Quarter is part of that shared national experience. Collecting Washington Quarters. For coin collectors, Washington Quarters hold a special place. Many collectors begin their journey with these coins because they are accessible, historically rich, and available in a wide range of dates and mint marks. Building a complete set can become a rewarding challenge, especially when searching for coins in higher grades or well-preserved condition. The 1995 D Quarter is often appreciated for its clean, modern strike and its representation of late 20th century minting. While it may not be the oldest or rarest coin, its value lies in its story, condition, and appeal to collectors who enjoy exploring every chapter of American coinage. Condition and preservation. Condition plays a major role in how any coin is perceived. Coins that have been heavily circulated may show wear on Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and the rim. Others may remain remarkably well preserved, retaining strong details and original luster. Collectors carefully examine surfaces for marks, scratches, and overall eye appeal. Even coins from the same year and mint can look very different depending on how they were handled and stored over time. The 1995 D Washington Quarter offers an excellent example of how modern coins can still attract attention when preserved properly. Why this coin matters. So why should anyone care about a 1995 D mint mark Washington Quarter? The answer lies in perspective. Coins are more than metal discs. They are historical artifacts, artistic creations, and personal keepsakes all at once. This quarter represents continuity. It connects the early vision of American coinage with the modern era. It shows how a design created in the early 20th century remained relevant and respected decades later. For collectors, it is a reminder that every coin, no matter how common it may seem, has a story worth telling, emotional connection and collector passion. Many collectors remember the first time they noticed a mint mark or learned the story behind a coin. That moment of realization often sparks a lifelong passion. The 1995 D Washington quarter can be that spark for someone new to the hobby or a nostalgic piece for a seasoned collector. Holding this coin can evoke memories of the 1990s, of simpler transactions, and of a time when physical currency played an even larger role in daily life. That emotional connection is something no price guide can fully capture. Final thoughts in closing. As we come to the end of this journey, take a moment to reflect on how much meaning can be found in a single quarter. The United States of America 1995 D Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar coin stands as a quiet testament to history, design, and everyday American life. Whether you are a collector, a history enthusiast, or someone who simply enjoys learning something new, this coin reminds us that value is not always obvious at first glance. Sometimes, the most fascinating stories are hiding in plain sight, right in the palm of your hand.